Welcome back to another episode of Not Just Another Story. Before we jump into this week's episode, I do want to just cover basis of the fact that we've been MIA for the last few weeks. Reason behind that is due to struggling for guests and being a new podcast, it is quite hard to get them. So we will be reformatting how we're doing the episodes going forward. However, we're in talks with a few, so hopefully we can start doing one guest a month, and then there'll be a new format for the other weeks in between. But with that being said, I am very happy to introduce a guest I've been looking forward to get on the show. And with that being said, Joe, I'll let you introduce yourself to the audience, mate. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Callum, really over the moon to be on this podcast. It's my first ever one, so a new sort of little experience for us, which I've been excited for the last 2 weeks that we've been chatting. But yeah, I'm an online coach, sort of dabbling into YouTube at the minute, trying to find my feet with that. I've just bought my first renovation property, so that's another sort of little venture that I'm starting at the minute. But yeah, my main sort of job is an online coach. I've been a PT prior to that, but just moving my business fully online now and still getting insane results. So yeah, my sort of niche clientele is people who want to get in photo shoot shape, and yeah, that's been going really well the last few years, 4 years now.
Perfect, mate. Just with the fitness side of things, how did you get into fitness? Like, were you always into kind of sport and whatnot as you were growing up, stuff like that? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was a very sporty kid. My dad pushed me big time into all different kinds of sports. Every day after school, it was, there was no day after school that I wasn't playing some kind of sport, whether it was, football, rugby, badminton, tennis. I'm a black belt in taekwondo. I was pushed into that for years. I absolutely loved it. But my real introduction into the gym was, to be honest, even years before being allowed in the gym because of my age. At about 7 or 8, I'll never forget my dad. It was literally about a week before Christmas, was saying how on Boxing Day there was a movie getting sort of shown on TV on Boxing Day, and from Boxing Day, which I think fell on a Saturday that year, every Saturday from that they were going to show the next movie and the next movie and the next movie, and I was like, well, what's it called? What's it about? And it's called Rocky. And I was like, Dad, I don't know if rock music is my kind of thing. Like, it doesn't really appeal to me, kind of thing. Which is crazy because I love rock music now and heavy metal and all that. But anyway, turns out it's not about rock music at all. As many people will know, it's a boxing movie, but it's massive. The fitness element of it is massively a big part of the movie, and it's supposed to motivate you and stuff like that. So anyway, sure enough, at like 7, 8 years old, I'm watching this Rocky 1, and I just remember becoming obsessed with it, and I mean obsessed with it. Press ups and sit ups every night before I got in the shower. I was just obsessed with it, and that it sounds funny now, but on a real, it really did set me up for delayed gratification, because sure enough, years of doing that, it's 11, 12, 13, I was already in really good shape, which set me up for, sports that I ended up doing and stuff like that. So it was a really good sort of foundation of motivation to get into that world. And you couldn't get me in the gym quick enough when I turned like 15. Yeah. And I've been a regular since, and I've never really struggled to sort of motivate myself to get in there and stuff. It's now a case of like, it's my medication, it's my therapy, and I do owe that to my dad, to be honest, pushing me to watch those movies that I really genuinely didn't think I was going to enjoy. I remember the opening scenes. He didn't tell me a thing about. He didn't even tell me it was about boxing or anything like that. But I remember the opening scene being that war of a boxing match in the first one, and thinking, what on earth is this? Like, I really don't think this is this is for me. And sure enough, it's still one like probably my favorite series of movies ever. I've still got the poster literally to my left here,
Yeah.
and that just reminds me why I got into why I got into it in the first place. Discipline and delayed gratification, and the benefits that come along with that. So yeah,
Definitely. What's your thoughts on Creed then? What have you mentioned in there, Rocky? Are you a fan of the Creed movies?
I am. I think they should have stopped at two. I thought two was the perfect ending. But I did enjoy the third one, but I just think they should have just called it something different. Just
Yeah.
get maybe the same story or whatever, but I think the perfect ending was at two. And obviously that Sylvester Stallone's not even in the who plays Rocky, isn't even in the third one, which I just think's crazy. He's barely mentioned.
Yeah.
Um,
There was a
but
reason behind that, there wasn't it? He had a little bit of a falling out with Michael
yeah,
B.
I know. But I
Jordan.
mean, it's technically his franchise, so anyway,
Yeah.
that's for a different podcast.
Even the story behind how that movie came about is quite like inspiring, isn't it?
Oh,
Like
unbelievable!
how he was like homeless and that, and then nobody was accepting the script, so he just basically just
Did it
get
himself.
yeah, amazing.
Insane. Absolutely
Nah,
love it.
that's class. And just like transitioning, so obviously Rocky and then doing sports and what I didn't know about the Taekwondo, by the way. That's not something I expected here tonight. But going from like all of that, so was that an easy transition going from sport, like physical, like sports, to then like free weights and stuff like that? Because I know sometimes people will play sport all their life, but not actually step foot into like a gym per se. Did you
Yeah,
find that transition easy? Because I did with football to the gym when I first started back when I was 16.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I say, you couldn't get me in there quick enough when I turned 15 and stuff. But prior to that, it was just a lot of body weight stuff and stuff like that. But I did quickly notice how much it benefited my sort of life in sport. In Taekwondo, when we're very much a mixed martial arts type of club. In terms of the instructor, just loved all different kinds of martial arts. So he would get Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructors in like once a month. He would get a boxer to come in once a month. We did a lot of like weapon defense and all sorts. So he was he had a mixed bag of hobbies when it came to martial arts that he would involve us in, and especially the Brazilian jiu-jitsu side of things when we're doing like grappling and stuff like that. I just noticed right away I was so much stronger than most lads my age, or sometimes even a bit older, because of all those bodyweight training that I'd been doing prior to that, and then
Yeah.
even more so when I got into the gym. I mean, it someone who's been doing bodyweight stuff for years and then got into the gym versus someone who's never even touched a weight in their life or ever done a press up and stuff like that, you're just naturally gonna see that advantage that you have over someone, and apply a bit of skill along with that. I ended up going to a grappling tournament in Doncaster. It was a regional tournament. First time I'd ever competed ever, and I got in the final of my first ever competition, like regional competition. And the guy, the lad who beat me, I mean, you just had to look at him. He just looked like he was born to do mixed martial arts. And I think he was like a year older than me, and we were sort of in the older half of our sort of age group. I think we were like under 16s age group.
Yeah.
And he absolutely annihilated me, armbar straight. Well, not straight away, but first 3 minutes or something had us. But that was like after beating 5 people who had way more experience than me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, the benefits that have came along with being into fitness, in terms of applying that to sport, has been unbelievable
Yeah.
all my life. And I do miss that element of it because I've played very little sports now, but it was always the training element of the fitness element of playing sports that I enjoyed the most anyway,
Yeah.
and got the most bang for my buck.
So that's good though, because my transition, so like when I was playing football still in high school in like sixth form and whatnot, playing Sunday league, I was always in the gym. But as soon as I stopped playing football, I lost my commitment to the gyms after, like, around about the same time. So it's good that you say that, but then it's weird how, like, you were saying the training element, but as soon as I stopped doing the training for football, I've lost that, like, kind
Yeah,
of
I'm with you.
thing for actual weight training. It's only been recently when I've been trying to get back into it now, and it's not the commitment, I still go, but now as you get older and you become more self-aware and stuff like around you, it's getting back into it is more the anxiety side of things, like, stepping back into a brand new gym that you've never been in before, finding the layout, all that stuff by yourself. That's what
100%.
held me back again after I'd not gone for so long. But then now, obviously, I'm starting to find my rhythm. I'm there every day again, trying to stick
Confidence
to
thing,
the
isn't it?
diet, 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was good how you mentioned, like, for the actual sport side of things, it was the training element that you enjoyed. And then with me, it was like once I stopped doing that as on a competitive stage, then the gym side of it kind of fell away from it. Like, it's
Yeah.
just weird how it works.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Different for everyone.
yeah, 100%. One thing that I did want to mention today is we've spoke about it briefly over the last few weeks is we're both massive on self-development and obviously growing as individuals. My thing to you is the love for fitness, and then as your business is, you've seen your business grow over the last few years and whatnot. Is that kind of what triggered your decision to do a little bit of sobriety? Was it like 6 to 8 months? I think you did.
Yeah. It was 8 months last year that I first, my first big spell of no alcohol. I'd done dry January most years, or at least the first 3 weeks of dry January in most years. I feel like a lot of people who are in that phase of their life where they're drinking all the time, find it really hard to even complete dry January. And I was one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was years that I did complete it, but yeah, last year was the year that I really started to push myself to try and limit, at the very least, limit how much alcohol I was going to be having. And yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. The benefits that came along with that was just, I mean, we could do a whole 2-3 hour podcast on that alone, I think, because it changed my life for the better. If I was to say, if you say what's one thing that you want to, one habit to implement into your life that's going to develop you more than anything else in the world, and give you a clear mind, make you stronger in the gym, excel your progress, just become an all-round better human being, more drive, a better partner. Honestly, first thing I'd say to anyone is ditch alcohol, or at the very least, pick your moments, which is what I try to do now. We had a laugh the other day talking about it. I originally said I wanted to beat 8 months, but then of course Newcastle have only gone and went to Wembley, so I'll be changing that date. I can't be the only sober person in Wembley like that. That would be ridiculous. And
Yeah.
and to be honest, it's one of those things where, like, now I'm like, is alcohol going to enhance my experience to a point where it's worth feeling the hangover for like the next few days these days? And is it worth how shit I'm going to feel after? And for me, usually 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, it's not worth it. It really just isn't. I've got to be in a circumstance where, like I said to you the other day, like, I did that 8 months and then thought, because England, it was again football. That's the downside. When England ended up getting to the final of the Euros, and I was so sure that we were going to win it, and I was like, I can't be the only sober person in Newcastle when England finally won a trophy, and sure enough, we didn't win, and I'm like stood outside the O2 Academy, what is now NX, absolutely mortal drunk, in disbelief that we got beat, being like, I can't believe this is what I've broke my streak for. But yeah, did another month sober, went to Ibiza with the lads, of course, enjoyed myself there and stuff. And again, there's a classic example of something that you just wouldn't enjoy it as much, being the only person that not drinking and stuff like that. it did open my eyes a bit. I probably would, like, if I did go back, I probably wouldn't drink as much, and I probably would do different types of events and stuff. I kind of found what was right for me in the last stage of my party era, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but but yeah, I mean, like I say, for me now it's more about just picking the right moments to give into it and stuff, and seeing what's going to be best. What's gonna bring out the best version of you. If alcohol is going to bring out a version that you need for that specific event, then go for it. But if there's plenty of times people will convince themselves they need alcohol for a specific event, and it's just bollocks in it, really. Like,
Yeah. Honestly, that used to be like me. Well, one, I worked in town, so that didn't help. And then when I stepped away from town, I always felt like there's a missing piece. And I spoke about when Nathan was on the podcast as well. But when you step away from that environment, you're there 3, 4, sometimes 5 nights a week. And you've got that sense, especially when you work in the events and everything, of being kind of wanted, and that's kind of your personality, because that's what you put on social media, that's what everybody knows you as.
it was my identity, mate, at one point.
Yeah. So when you're trying to step away, and I left to pursue like my full time job because I was only doing that part time, where most people do when they're in uni. So I was like trying to balance both. So I was like getting mortal on a night time, going to work for 9 o'clock, then repeating. So I was like, I can't keep this up. It was back in 2019, so I think I just turned 20. I think maybe he's 19. And I got to a point, and I was like, I can't continue to do this. December 2019, I think I just turned 20. Sorry. And I was like, I need to just keep growing. I need to step away from that. I stepped away from it, and I was still going out because I was like, all my pals are there. And I was like, I may as well get paid. And then I stepped away from going out, and then you're just seeing a drop of people like contacting you, when you're not going out all the time and stuff like that.
100%.
And that really helped me. But then what I found is on a Saturday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday, sorry, I was drinking more to compete, and I was turning into like an absolute idiot when I was on had a drink. So then I cut down, and then it was like one off, like you say. And then I think it was last year, after Paul Smith, the comedian, came to Newcastle, I got mortal like when I was there. And then I was hungover for like 2 or 3 days. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. I've got the podcast I want to focus on. And then I know the audience have heard this from me a million times. But then it kind of triggered something. And I was going out with the football lads and whatnot. And I was like, do you know what? I'm driving. I'm still enjoying myself. But I can go home at like 12, 1 o'clock instead, early. I'm not hungover because I've got the car. 2, I'm not shattered because I went home at a decent time. And it just changed something.
Saved a ton of money.
Mate, the amount of money I've saved is ridiculous.
Crazy.
And then I booked a holiday for myself in December to go to Krakow by myself. And all my friends were like, you're not the most outgoing person, though. Like, once you're out your shell, you're fine. But, like, you're not the most outgoing person and stuff, like, for meeting friends and whatnot. I was like, yeah, but I just want to push myself out, like, my comfort zone.
Was that something that you wanted to change about yourself?
100%, because I never used to be like that. I used to be quite a quiet but confident person. And then I think it was, like, to be fair, I think it was the drink. Like, I used to just get, like, massively...
Lie on it.
Anxiety. And then if I'd done something, I used to let it, like, hold us down for months and months. And when I wasn't like drinking, I was like, you know what, I may as well go and experience it. I've travelled to Australia by myself, like flight wise. I was like, let's do an actual holiday where I'm not meeting up with anybody. And I'd done it, and it happens that when I was there, I had 2 mates who were in Poland at the same time, so I did actually end up meeting someone. But during the day, I'd done my own stuff. I went on my own tours, met like some amazing people when I was there as well, and like learning their culture as well as much as I could. The only thing I regret is that I didn't vlog the experience. Where now I think anytime I do a solo trip, I would do that just so it's out there. And like, the reason I started the podcast was to show people like they can get through mental barriers and they can overcome like certain things. So I think if I start putting out content like that on my own personal YouTube, like what's it called? And like, I'm not just preaching, I'm actually doing it.
Walking the walk.
Walking the walk, that's it, not talking the talk. But yeah, so that massively changed my perspective, and it helped me grow. And I think you're right with what you're saying. Pick your moments for having alcohol, like it'll still be fine. But what I've found for myself, and each person's different, is I enjoy my time better without it. So that's kind of why I've not done it. I'm not saying I never will do it again, but I'm definitely hitting a year. So I've got until like the end of June to not drink, and then I'll decide where I go from there. But
Yeah.
now I'm not. I go out and I don't even feel like I need a drink now.
No. No.
So I
There's no
understand what
there's
you're
no
saying.
there's no pressure either, mate. Don't feel like when you get to that year period, don't celebrate that year period with a drink. Find an event that's worth drinking for. That's
Yeah,
what I would do. You know, personally. Don't think that you have to drink just because you hit a year. Find the right moment for you. Find the right holiday.
yeah.
You know, like
Like I'm moving to Australia next year, like so that's the one thing I'm aiming for.
yeah, definitely.
So
That completely different atmosphere though.
yeah, 100%.
Environment, like again, like that. I would say it's probably a lot harder in Australia to do sober streaks, from what I can see and what I've heard.
It depends. You've got two sides of Australia, really, don't you? Because a lot of people who I know who's over there, they're up at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and the only
True.
time they really drink is like on a Saturday or at an event.
Yeah.
So I think if I just go over there with a sobriety mentality, I can live the same lifestyle. I just don't need to get on it as much.
Yeah. No,
So,
100%.
but yeah, I love the way of life. I fell in love when I went over there, and I'd put off going for like certain reasons, but I had like a not a mini meltdown because I was like thinking, should I do my business first or move over because I can set up when I'm there? And I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna just make the plunge and move first, and even if I'm there a year and come home, then I can say I've done it.
100%.
So I
100%.
wouldn't. I probably wouldn't have done it though if I didn't do the sobriety. I probably would have stayed where I'm comfortable
Yeah.
because I've started going on like solo dates to like the cinema for coffee and stuff now, and
Oh, mate, love that.
it's
Love that.
unbelievable, mate. I
Mate,
went to see it in
the
your
cinema
movie.
is somewhere I can happily go by myself. And
I do quite
it
often.
is weird, like the first few times you do it, but like, you know, you don't even talk, you know, when you go with people, you don't talk in the cinema.
No,
It's not necessary. It's a shit first date, second date, third date,
yeah,
which is ironic because I'm pretty sure my third date with my missus was at a cinema. But you know, it was. I think it was. To be fair, I think it was a really good movie choice, and that we both wanted to see, which is a little bit different. But I think, yeah, choosing the cinema as a date usually is pretty shit, just because
yeah,
you don't communicate, and
yeah,
yeah, but yeah, I think going alone, and I've done like long walks and like coffee and even food sometimes by myself and stuff like that.
yeah. I do it all the time
And I
now.
think it's really good. You know, what did I read this quote earlier. You're never going to hear anyone else's voice more than your own, so be kind to yourself. And I think doing stuff like that improves your relationship, and it improves that conversation with your mind a lot more, because you're more comfortable with yourself and
Yeah,
being solo, and you know, if it's not something that you do often, and then you find yourself in a you know, if you're an anxious person, probably, you know, being in a phase of your life where alcohol is very, very common, you're never going to be more anxious than that. And
yeah,
if you do find yourself alone, it can be a dangerous place, because you start having these thoughts in your head that you're not in control of fully, because the anxiety is taking over you, and it's a lot harder to kick when you're hungover and stuff like that. And yeah, so I think you know, being in a sober streak, or a
yeah.
what did you call it before? Sobriety.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
So, be like just going through sobriety. I think
yeah,
I'm going to ask you this as well, but for me, it definitely helped me realize how beneficial being sober is for your self development because you can zone in on something.
100%.
I just wanted to ask you, did you see that correlation as well? Like when you like done your 8 months, did you see like your like mindset for like achieving goals and everything just kind of went skyrocketed?
100%,
Yeah,
100%. I timed it really well, in terms of I think the growth of podcasts, not just podcasts but really good podcasts, have grown rapidly in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and I think I timed that really well with going sober,
Yeah.
because that was a good way of filling me time. Um, there was sometimes when my mates would go out and I'd happily stay in and just have some food, watch a movie, watch a podcast or whatever. And I think the combination of those two really triggered, um, not triggered, propelled forwards my need to develop myself.
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier to zone in on specific areas. Stuff like confidence was a big thing for me, which will make a lot of people either laugh or confused, because I would say almost everyone who knows me knows I'm a very confident person
Yeah.
on the whole. But there's certain area, just because you're confident in certain areas in your life doesn't mean that you're confident across all areas of your life. And it was those areas that I wanted to improve my confidence on, speaking to new people and stuff like that, trying to get off my phone a little bit more,
Yeah.
and look up and more, because I feel like everyone's down like this. So that was a big thing, with confidence. Business, I really wanted to zone in on business, and last year was by far my most successful year to date, which is it's almost in a way expected, because I've got more experience, more results, a bigger following. But having said that, a lot of PTs try this out for the first year or two and give in. Whereas mine just, every single year would like times 3, times 4, in terms of my clientele, my income, my results. It was just every single year it's just grown and grown and grown to a point now where, someone comes on board and I literally guarantee them results, because I've got that much experience in getting people there. It's it really gave me confidence in that area to zone in on growing the brand and the business. And I mean, I was spoke about this the other day. I would have not bought that first house had I been drinking at
Yeah.
all. Not just because of the money I saved not going out, but the money I was able to make by growing the business, and getting people to where they want to be, and being a good role model for my members of my team. I mentioned it before, but I'm very big on not just being able to walk the walk, but talk. Not just being able to talk the talk, but
Yeah.
walk the walk as well. And I can't be going out getting pissed all the time, and trying to convince my team to stay sober, because it's going to rapidly propel their results forwards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another big thing. But yeah, I mean, mate, we could talk all day long on ways that alcohol, like preventing yourself from drinking all the time, will propel your self development. Any
Yeah.
area of your life is going to get so much easier to move forwards if you can just pick the right moments, or even better, do a big stint like we've done. You're on to nearly a year. I did. So wait a minute. So you're about 8 months now. If that is that right? No, probably just over.
Uh, um, would I be like 8 months yet? Roughly there or thereabouts. I'm not very good at quick maths, like, so I'll not try to embarrass myself. But I'll be there or thereabouts. It was like, I think the other week when we were talking, I'd just passed 200 days, so I wouldn't be far off. But
Yeah.
I think Paul Smith was like the 20th or 21st of June or something. So I'll be
All right.
there or thereabouts.
Yeah, you'll be about coming up to the 8 month mark. I would,
Seven,
I
eight
would
month, I
say.
think. Yeah.
Aye, aye. So I mean, you're right where I've been in your shoes, so I know exactly what it's like. And to be honest, like, uh, what date are we on? Just gone.
February 27th.
So what, 7? I'm like 7 weeks, coming up to 7 weeks
It's good that.
sober again, and this time around, like really, really not struggled at all. Like, I remember last year, because I'd never done it before, after dry January, when everyone does the usual, oh, let's go out, let's celebrate the fact that we've done a month sober. Like, I remember really struggling to begin with, that like struggling to adapt to my
Yeah.
sort of new way of going out and not being on the same level as everyone else, and not having the hacks like planning something the next day early in the morning so you reap the benefits of being fresh the next day and stuff like that. I didn't have that in place and stuff like that, so I was just finding my feet with it, and I did struggle. But then, I mean, this time round, mate, because I've done it once before,
Yeah.
you'll notice this if you ever do go back to drinking again and then you try it again. I think it's so much easier the second time round.
For
Because
me, it was after the first 30 days. I think once you get over that first hurdle and you kind of adjust your mentality, I think that's all it takes. But like you say, once you've done it once, it's fairly easy to do it a second time once you've done a long stint.
100%, 100%. Straight after this podcast, I'm going out for a friend's birthday tonight at this Turkish restaurant in Whitley Bay, and I would almost guarantee that out of the 7, 8 lads that'll be there, at least 6 of them will be drinking, like on a Thursday night, and like literally I'll be on my waters tonight, like up with no issues at all,
Yeah.
like it's just not worth it.
My next thing's pop. I need to cut out the pop because I'm really bad for drinking Coke.
Really,
Really, really bad. So that's
aye,
my next one. But I can go through like, do you know, the 1.75 bottles. I can do them in like 2 or 3 days. And
wow,
yeah, it's like an addiction, but it's not an addiction. I'm not going to say I'm addicted to Coke, but
bro. Honestly, there's I've been through this myself. Honestly, there is so many benefits to not drinking fizzy drinks.
I'm
Like
drinking more water, which is good, but I
I
need to cut out the pop altogether. Not
when
altogether, but
I when I was in like first few years of high school, the combination of cans of Emerge. Do you remember Emerge? The energy
emerge when I
drinks.
go back. Yeah.
19 pence they were from Home Bargains, right? I was like, 19 pence, take me money. Um, that was something that I would have
Yeah.
on the daily, straight after school. Had no idea that it was probably the worst thing I could do for my sleep pattern and everything. um, uh, so that was a big thing, and the combination of that plus my dad owning. Do you know Spanish City in Whitley Bay?
Yeah.
There's a slope opposite it going down to the beach. There used to be a restaurant there called the Boardwalk.
Right, yeah.
My dad owned that restaurant, and I was just allowed to just go behind the bar and just fill up as I please. Like it was my dad's business, and like I didn't take the piss, but I would have at least one every time I would go.
Yeah.
And it was just so easy access. So there's straight away a can of Emerge a day and at least one drink of fizzy coke. Mate,
Yeah.
my acne at that
Yeah.
around that time period was horrendous. Justin Bieber fringe as well. So if I got sweaty, it was always my hair was on my hair and on my forehead and stuff. I was so spotty. Literally, mate. One day, just kicked it. Both of them just started drinking water. Honestly, almost instantly. Actually, to be fair, the combination of that and this really good spot cream that I had at the time.
Yeah. I've
Um,
just got some new ones, me, because I can't get rid of these ones, but a lot of mine are scores off when I was younger as well.
picking them.
Yeah.
My
But
brother has them. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got like
Not bad, but
100 milliliters a day, so a litre a day. 1,000, sorry, so a litre a day. I go through 3 of these a day now, where 2, 3 weeks ago I was having at most 1 bottle.
yeah.
So I'm hoping if I continue with that and then cut down the pop,
Aye.
because I know for a fact I'm never going to be able just to cut it out, but I
Full
can
turkey.
get it. Yeah, I can get it down and then hopefully phase
What
it off.
what's your current like intake of fizzy drinks like?
I go up and down, mate. Some days I'll have none, and then other days I'll have like 3 pint glasses. Like it's really bad. When
Yeah.
I have a lot, when I drink it, I'll have a lot of it. Then I try doing this thing where I have one like glass a day, but then I'll have one glass, and I'm like, oh, I could just drink another, go down.
Aye. Aye.
But it
Gotta
depends.
apply that
Like,
discipline, mate. Gotta apply that discipline.
oh mate, it's horrible. But anyways, I'm gonna just jump into the next
Of course.
section now because you mentioned it earlier, and I just want to touch base a little bit. Is with the YouTube, what made you start recording? And I know for the audience, they can actually go and watch the video of why you're starting a YouTube because I seen that's your first YouTube video that
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
uploaded. But for those who are listening, like, what was it that actually made you want to start recording and posting on there?
It was a combination of things, mate. It was something that I'd wanted to do for years. I'm talking easily 10 plus years. I think it was about 14 or 15 when I first started getting into YouTube properly.
Yeah.
And there was a guy called Steve Cook. Does that name ring a bell?
I used to, he made me want to do it. I used to do fitness YouTube as well.
Love that, love that. So yeah, he was my main man that got me into YouTube, got me into fitness. Not necessarily got me into fitness, but he was single-handedly responsible for how great my form is today.
Last set, best set.
Yeah, that's the man. That's the man. So yeah, he was a massive positive influence in my life.
Yes, yeah.
I've ever since my uni mates, if they do watch this, I'll be absolutely howling at this section of the podcast because I used to rave about him when I was at uni and stuff like that, and they'd do the stupid Geordie impressions because they're all from down south and stuff like that. Steve Cook, but yeah, no, I was obsessed with him, and I think there's a lot worse people to be obsessed about than Steve Cook. He's a very good role model for young men, still is. Still going strong, even now as a dad and a gym owner, still puts out really good content and stuff. But yeah, he was a massive influence for me growing up, and in the YouTube world and stuff. And I just thought, how can I have your life?
Yeah.
And I've kind of like made conscious decisions throughout my life to sort of not mirror but almost shadow his lifestyle and really focusing on big things that matter to me, like staying consistent with my fitness, my diet, investing in a property. That's something he's also done himself, and yeah, that was my first sort of introduction into YouTube and fitness YouTube specifically. So ever since then, I've said every year I'm going to start YouTube, and I've
Yeah.
bottled it and bottled it and bottled it every year.
Sounds like me, that.
Literally, and I literally just was like, "What? Why not just go for?" Do you know what's crazy is one of the traits I'm most proud of with myself, and there's not loads, but one thing I've always been proud of is how much I've stuck to doing what I want to do, and no matter what anyone says, just doing it anyway. And if I did get grief or backlash from it, I've just shrugged it off and went, so what? People, honestly, Callum, I'm not joking here. Can you believe this? In fact, you might have some experience of this yourself. I don't know, but I was one of the first lads in the gym when we were in high school, right? And there was lads that would rip the piss out of me. I swear to God, for just going to the gym,
Yeah.
like on the
I had that
daily.
back in the day, yeah.
Who do you think? Oh, like Mr. Bicep Curl, Mr. Muscle, and all this. I swear to God, I would get that on the daily. Like,
Yeah.
not, I wouldn't say quite bullied. There was other lads that got it worse than me.
Yeah, yeah.
On the daily for much worse than things than going to the gym. But like, it's annoying looking back that I've had so much. The one thing I'm so proud of is just doing what I want to do and going all in on my dreams and stuff. And yet the one thing that I've wanted to do the most is the thing I've bottled this whole
Yeah.
time until now. And yeah, I mean, God, like given how it's going so far, I just wish I'd done it sooner. There's so many
Just about to
experiences
say,
that I've done these last 10 years that I'm like, God, imagine making a vlog about that. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Like, put it this way, when you mentioned Steve Cook, I had a fitness Instagram, mate, where I uploaded pictures and everything like that. And then I'd
class.
done this, like, not a memory board, but, like, how you used to do, like, the layouts on there and then put loads of different pictures in.
Yeah,
So I'd
yeah,
done a layout back when I was, like, I think I was in year 11 or sixth form or something.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then put in, like, all the people who I watched on YouTube and tagged them all and was like my biggest inspiration, and they all commented on the post as well. So like Steve Cook, Christian Guzman, Rob Lipsett, um, who else? A lad called Dan Harden. He doesn't do YouTube anymore, but he was like a UK one.
Mhm.
He's some kid called his Instagram Shred Bundy, but his name's
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah. Joy Delaney.
Yeah. So all them like actually commented on the post and everything.
Shut up, man.
I deleted I changed the Instagram recently. I had all the posts still there, but I deleted the Instagram and made it the podcast Instagram. And
Right.
I was like, part of his wish I'd never done it, just so I had that one post, or
Oh
just
mate,
kept that one
I
post.
hope have you screenshotted those comments?
I don't know. I'll have to have a look.
Oh mate, send us them if you get a chance. I remember once Rob Lipsit answered one of my questions on a live Q&A. Was at the time probably one of the best days of my life.
I've spoke to Rob a few times, to be fair, on
Yeah,
Instagram. Yeah,
oh, class.
he didn't reply to me last one about asking him to come on here, mine, but it was about the other stuff.
Aye.
Don't know if you've heard of him as well. Max Tuning.
Yeah, yeah.
He's replied to a few of my DMs as well. So I think the end goal is, if I can keep this up, potentially get them on. But
Yeah, 100%
they're
man.
massive inspirations, especially Max, because Max is a lot more laid back when
Yeah,
still doing everything, but not kind of down the fitness route anymore because he's just sold
yeah,
the
yeah,
business of the
100%.
Hershey's, honey. But yeah, when you said Steve Cook, you're like the
All
first
those
person.
names, mate. Rob Lipsit, Steve Cook, Kristen Guzman, all of them
Yeah,
were huge
that's who
inspirations
I
to
grew
me.
up with. Yeah,
And like, if my mates are watching this, they're gonna roll their eyes at this part. But a lot of the lads I grew up with, they weren't interested in that kind of stuff. They would look at the likes of I can't even remember their names. That's how much interest I have in them. Who was that? Um, the boxer from the YouTube world.
KSI.
KSI, people like that. That's who people were obsessed with when we were in high school.
Yeah, there
And
was.
it just wasn't for me, mate. Like, and I've never understood it. People like when I give him grief now, people are like, yeah, but back in the day, and I was like, back in the day, I thought he was a dick. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
I
I
actually
never was.
prefer him now than I did back then, me.
Honestly, mate, it's as much as a dick he is now, probably same because
Yeah,
at least he's in a little bit more closer to my world. But yeah, mate. So yeah, when people were watching the likes of KSI and people like that,
we were watching
and
other people.
I couldn't even name you that many other people to be honest. But I was always watching those types of people, and like when I look back, I'm like, Christ, that's probably a big influence on where I am today. If I'm
Yeah,
totally honest with you, if it wasn't for the likes of Steve Cook especially, I really don't think I would have went down this route at
yeah.
all.
I used to love watching his content back in the day. I haven't
Oh
watched
yeah,
him in a while, but back in the day, I used to love his stuff.
yeah. It's never going to be as good when you're a full-time dad and
Nah,
gym owner, and he loves his golf now as well. It's never going to be as
it
big.
was around when he started liking golf, and I started to tune out a little bit, but
Aye,
because golf isn't my bag,
no,
like.
it's not for me either. Yet,
So
never
nah,
will.
yet, yeah.
Yeah.
But now I'm sober and don't really go out. I've been thinking about maybe trying to take it up. It might just be
Aye.
because every time I've tried, it's been shit weather in the UK. So I might see if I can get abroad to have a game, or see if I can find some enjoyment. But when I have in the past, I haven't been to get
Yeah,
into it.
I've been shit on driving ranges and shit like that.
Yeah. Moving on then, mate. So I've just got just a few like little bullet points what to do for the segments. So after the success in the personal training and like saving over the last year and whatnot, as we mentioned on the podcast, you bought your house, but it was in auction. So it's probably winning the auction's a slightly better feeling than actually putting that house down because it's got that competitive edge as well.
100%.
What was that feeling like when you one won the auction and two realised that you've just purchased your first home?
Honestly, mate, top three best moments of my life, genuinely. And if you watch the video, it's I think it's really easy to believe that because of my reaction and my
The
dad's
figure was
reaction.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I was in two minds as to whether to do it or not, like in terms of filming it, and I'm so glad I did because that is honestly a memory I'll take with us for a lifetime.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was unbelievable, mate. Like in terms of hard work paying off and stuff like that. I mean that it doesn't get much better than that. Um, for where I'm at in my life, at least, I'm sure there'll be
yeah,
other moments like that in the future. But yeah, I mean, what's crazy is it hasn't been something that I've wanted to do for years. In terms of buying a property, that my views on that have massively changed.
yeah,
I watched a podcast a few years ago with Chris Williamson and James Smith, and James Smith was talking about how you should focus in your 20s on spending your money on experiences, and don't buy properties because you should rent. And I took it the wrong way. mainly because James Smith's from London or lives around London, or that was kind of what he was trying to, the type of audience he was trying to speak to were people who live in the south, who are with partners that they don't really love and they shouldn't be with, and they're going halves on properties to then, and then when they're splitting up, it's chaos and stuff like that. And he's talking about how renting gives you freedom. One day you can be here, the next you can go wherever you want without any responsibility and stuff. Long story short, it gave me a really negative mindset on buying property, because that's someone who I look up to massively as well. Do you know James Smith? Or have you heard?
Yeah.
But yeah, what I should have been focusing in on was Chris Williamson's reaction to it, which was, especially because he's a northern lad, he's got several properties and making money off them and stuff like that, and that's because he's from the north, so he has a realistic perspective on buying properties and the benefits that come along with that and stuff like that. So it was one long conversation I had with my parents, where I showed them that podcast, and they were like, surely you should be looking at that Chris lad over that James lad.
Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about that until then, because it ended up meaning that I was going to get a property myself, which I think is, at least for your first one, is definitely the safer route. Personally,
100%.
I'm not knocking anyone who gets one in a relationship if they know 100% that that's their life partner and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
But
think it depends on the
how many
story,
people
doesn't
actually
it?
know 100% that that's going to be who they're going to be spending the rest of their lives with? And the amount of people that you hear these days who've had an absolute nightmare when it comes to buying a property with someone, and then it's gone to shit, and then they've ended up losing thousands. I was literally on FaceTiming a friend from uni last week, and he was telling me how he'd lost 30 grand off the back of that. For me, mate, not to bring a negative I don't know, theme to the podcast here.
Yeah.
It's not negative at all. If anything, I want people to watch this and believe in themselves, that they're capable of doing it themselves. But you've just got to go about it the right way. Go about your life the right way. Maybe don't go on all the nights out that you want to go on. Limit your alcohol intake, because you're going to save a lot of money, and all that money that you're saving, put into an ISA, a help to buy ISA. That it doesn't exist. It didn't exist at the time when I was doing it, but I think the best one right now that I can see is that Money Box ISA, which I mentioned in the YouTube video. Look it up, Money Box ISA, and start one. £200 a month. Even on a minimum wage job, most people can afford £200 a month if you're smart with your money and you're making the right decisions when it comes to where you're going to socialise and stuff like that. Honestly, go for it, and in 5 years' time, you'll thank yourself for it, because you'll be on the property market. And I can honestly say it's one of the best things I've ever done, and just watching the place grow is just class. I'm going to be moved in within the next month, and it's just you won't even recognise the place, mate. I'll do another house. I've got a house tour coming, not this Sunday but next, and you won't even recognise the place from that house tour.
Well, that leads us perfectly on to the next one, because I was going to ask, what is next for the house fitness and YouTube? Are you going to document the renovations? What's the plans for everything?
Yeah, so we're on YouTube video 4. Only one's been released, and that's the auction one. The next is the house tour. The one after that is the clear out, and stripping the place, and the one after that is getting the electricians and the plumber in and starting to do the place up a bit, and then tip runs and stuff like that. I've documented the whole thing. So yeah, we're just about to start video number 5. So yeah, it's exciting. What a lot of people don't realize is that that video went out a few weeks ago, but obviously I got the property actually a few months ago. So I just wanted to get ahead of myself with content and stuff like that, because I knew I wanted to document the whole thing. But yeah, honestly, couldn't recommend people enough to watch along. If that first video, if you enjoyed that first video, honestly, that's just the start of this, and it's a super exciting project, but also a project in itself, like the renovation, but even just editing the whole thing as well has been a journey. Just watching it all back
Yeah.
and choosing the right bits to put in the videos and chopping it all up and stuff. And it's a whole different type of video compared to what I'm used to in the fitness industry. But no, it's I don't want to be a one trick pony when it comes to YouTube. I've said that from the beginning. I said that in the first video. I didn't actually include renovations in the areas that I wanted to go in, but certainly lifestyle, self-development, fitness, travel,
That's what I'm
which I've
planning.
implemented a little bit of, and want to do more of. I want it to be a place people can come to, not just tune out of their own lives and enjoy some hopefully entertaining content,
Yeah.
but also learn something from it and take inspiration, because that's something that I've done for the last 10 plus years on YouTube, and I just want to do the same and sort of it sounds a bit cringy, but like give back to the community kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because fitness has given me the life I have today, and it can for anyone. No one. I heard another great quote the other day. It was like, no one's getting up at 6 a.m. every day and going to the gym and not improving their life some way.
Yeah.
And I fucking love that. Like, that is so true. If you can just discipline yourself to show up 3+ times a week to the gym, it's going to force you to eat better. It's going to force you to have a clearer mind. It's going to give you more energy.
By the way, I've just started eating better, and I'm actually saving money by doing that because I used to eat takeaways pretty much every night.
100%.
So my plan is very similar to you with YouTube. I'm doing a 12-week transformation series.
Love that.
So I did video one day, and I was meant to do like the full week. So I'm not going to put that out because I think I'm changing perspective on it. So what I think I'm going to do is start it from March instead, like the series, but then do a video a day.
Love
It's
that.
only like 10, 15 minutes, but for the 12 weeks, one a
100%,
day.
man. Go for it.
And then obviously it'll help with the algorithm and stuff like that. And we've spoke about it before, but obviously daily life videos I think help get a lot of traction as well.
Definitely.
But then plan is obviously that do like everything in the day, so not just the fitness side of it, not just the eating side of it, just whatever I'm doing, I'll just a few little clips put in the video, do that per day. So it's quite interesting how you've said that, because it seems like we've got quite a few similar interests in
100%.
regards to
Yeah.
content creation.
Definitely, mate.
So that's class. Any future plans for the fitness, or just continue how you are, continue to grow?
Yeah, probably just continue to grow the business, move in to the actual property, and even when I've moved in, there's going to be plenty of stuff to continue that project in terms of the renovation series. Long term, in about a year's time, I want to start an extension at the back, ground floor extension. But then, I mean, I can't promise this the dream is to have a ground floor extension at the back, but then rather than having a second floor on the top, having a balcony. So rather than having a window, I have double doors that open up onto a balcony on that ground floor extension
Yeah.
that look onto what is currently a forest of a garden, but is going to be an absolute like insane garden. Like the plans
Yeah.
I've got for that are crazy. So yeah, it's a jungle at the minute, but it is going to look insane. Probably not this summer. It'll be decent. It'll be a decent size, and it'll be trimmed and smartened up a bit.
Yeah.
But definitely by next summer, that garden's going to be something else. So it'll be lovely to have a balcony to sort of have me morning coffee. I don't even drink coffee, but I feel like that's the type of thing that you do
No,
on a
definitely.
balcony.
So, mate, going into the last final segment of the episode,
Yeah, of course.
first thing I would just want to ask you, what has been your biggest mental struggle, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, great question. My biggest mental struggle was probably, it's not something that I've massively struggled with, but the biggest struggle I've had was during lockdown. I know loads of people that loved lockdown one. They say that was the best one. For me, that was the worst. Going from, going to the gym every day with my mates, coming home, getting ready, having some food, going out 3-4 times a week. In that season of my life, I was drinking all the time, and it wasn't really affecting me. I didn't have loads of responsibilities other than just showing up to uni.
Yeah.
To go from that, being the sociable butterfly that I am, to literally being locked in for months on end without human connection, human contact, was awful, and that sent my brain west. I piled the weight on because I wasn't training, but I was still eating just as much as I was. Piled on 20 odd kg, and yeah, I mean, coming out of lockdown and dragging myself to social occasions again and finding my confidence and thinking that I'd found my confidence, but really I hadn't, because I was so ashamed of how much weight I'd put on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And to a lot of people, there's a lot of people who've been in worse shape than I've been in, that I was in that time period. But for me, when I'd been Mr. Muscle from high school and 6-pack abs all my life, being that guy to then seeing all those people again and being 20 odd kg plus heavier, mate, I was in a really, really bad mental state. Combine that with working for Amazon in a job that I absolutely hated, doing deliveries, that honestly there was genuinely days that I was looking at that cliff at Tynemouth and thinking, I could just honestly just put my foot down here.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's literally how low I got on some days. I don't think I had the bottle to go through with that, to be honest with you. I don't want this to be a sob story podcast.
Yeah.
But those were the types of thoughts I was having on a frequent basis. Really, really lonely. 6 days a week doing that job, and got myself in a really, really dark place. And quitting that job and deciding that I was going to start the PT thing in my garage. Like you say, that full story's on the channel as well. But yeah, taking the leap and starting my little PT business in my garage was the best decision I ever made. I still had very little responsibilities at the time. I didn't have the outgoings that I have now and stuff like that. So yeah, that was the big change for me was taking that leap on that dream, and then setting myself a goal of working with the top fitness photographers in the country. And a year from that, I ended up doing that and doing my first fitness photo shoot and stuff like that. I got in the best shape of my life. And I think going through that myself, going from a really, really dark place and being overweight and stuff like that, to being in a really good place mentally in my career, seeing things grow, and then obviously combine that with getting in the best shape of my life, is what's pushed me even harder to help others do the same. Because, I can't, like I say, we could do a whole separate podcast on self-development and the perks behind being in shape and growing your confidence as a result of that and stuff like that. I think it's that journey, mate, just inspired us to push this even further. Yeah. Things were going okay. I was still getting decent results. I was winging it a little bit at the time. I didn't even have my app or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I propelled, showing people that I was capable of doing that myself, and walking the walk like I always talk about, was really a big leap in the growth of the business, because people started to take it a bit more seriously, and I started taking it a lot more seriously. So that was definitely the biggest mental challenge I've ever went through. Having what is essentially suicidal thoughts, to being in my dream career, what's going to be my, in the grand scale of things, a dream house in terms of what I can do with this property. Being with someone who love that company, and she loves mine. When I look back to that time period and think, if I was a different type of person that would have the bottle to put their foot down on the accelerator and you know,
Yeah.
just let it be done with. You know, it's scary in a way, but also like, wow, I'm so proud of myself for taking that leap and everything that's came along with that, and
Yeah.
the and where I am today in my life, because you know, there's a lot of people that I owe a lot of thanks to, a lot of mentors along the way. My current business mentor, Jack, Liam Ruth, who owns Graft,
Yeah.
and you know, a lot of the PTs that I worked with, not just the ones that were really really good, but even the ones that weren't very good, that made me think I better not do that. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's just learning along the way. You know, I owe a lot of people. You know, I'm not on here to say that I did this all myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's been acting on the positive influences in my life that have got us to where I am today. And you know, I'm not. This is not me again saying that I'm where I want to be. I'm at the very very top of the industry or anything like that. It's me saying I want to be right up there, and there's plenty of room for there's plenty of room at the top for
Yeah.
everyone to join me. Basically,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not saying that I'm there yet. I'm saying I want to be there.
Yeah.
Let's get up there together.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my outlook on things now.
I love that, mate. And with that all being said, it leads us perfectly to the next one. So I'm going to shift the questions that I sent you around just to find out, with everything you've just mentioned, what would be the one bit of advice you would give to your younger self?
Great question. Start now.
That's
Start
my
now.
favourite. That's my favourite.
Genuinely, it's so cliche, and so many
It's
people will
right
tell
though,
you
isn't
it.
it?
So many people will tell you it, but you know, I've got a very small amount of subscribers on YouTube, but it would be at least 10 times what I've if I just started when I first said that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I should have just started on my iPhone. I waited so long to get a camera and stuff like that, and the
That's what
perfect
I was doing, now I'm using
perfect
the old iPhone.
yeah, the perfect moment to start. And there is no such thing. There's always going to be obstacles in your life.
And
Ditch
everyone
those,
says
ditch the
that.
excuses.
Everybody who's successful says the same thing. They wish I started earlier, so
Yeah.
I agree with
Uh,
what you're saying.
lean into yourself, being yourself. I know that sounds again a bit cheesy, a bit corny, and stuff like that. But what I mean by that is, as much as something that I admire about myself, and like I say, there's not loads of things, but one thing that I do admire is how much I stuck to my guns in high school, and ever since then, no matter what people gave us grief for or anything like that, I was very set in my ways. The type of music that I liked wasn't the type of music that everyone was listening to and stuff like that. Um, the hobbies that I had, the type of content that I watched, the way I dressed, mate, you name it. I was nothing like anyone that was in my year group or the year below me, year above me,
Yeah.
and I didn't shy away from it, but I do wish that I was a bit more proud of it, because I remember having feelings of, fuck, why am I so different? Like, am
Yeah.
I a weirdo? Do you know what I mean? I didn't, I ne- you know, I never had Xbox Live or anything like that.
Neither.
Honestly, mate, and I felt like such a loser at times. I felt like such a. I was a fairly popular lad. I went to, I got invited to parties, and I was good at sports and stuff like that. So that always helps, I think, when you're in high
Yeah.
school and stuff like that. But I got so much grief, and I used to think, God, am I just a freak?
That's what made me stop doing YouTube in sixth form, because I think I released 10 videos, didn't say, tell anyone, and I found the channel, and then a few people just took the piss. I was like, took them all down, stopped. But now I think back, I'm like, if I kept doing the videos, kept in, banging at fitness, one, I would probably be in a lot better shape than I am now. I'm like your average Joe, pot belly guy. And I probably would have had I might not have been massive following, but I might have had decent following on YouTube still.
100%.
Especially when I was having those comments and things like that from who you mentioned, some of the biggest names in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And if I start pulling some traction, so for start now, I 100% agree with that, mate.
Yeah,
Because that's my advice to anybody.
definitely.
Start whatever you want to do. Start now, because I wish I did. And it wasn't until I started the podcast when people take the piss, but it's like now it's like in a joking way. Like when your mates say stuff, it's like some like my mate the other day called us Specky Rogan, which you just have to laugh at it. But like
That's class.
he says that to me, but like he also shares all my stuff on like his stories and stuff like
No, I
that.
love that.
So that to me, like now, I'm just gonna bang out the videos and whatnot now
Hundred
because
percent.
what's the worst people take the mic, but then if I'm if it's me mates, they're still going to support us at the same time. So
100%, mate.
anyone
Plenty,
listening,
plenty of room at the top. And
yeah,
again, can't stress enough. That's not me saying I'm at the top.
not
I'm
yet,
saying I want to be there. Who's coming with us?
yeah,
Who's coming with us?
100%. So I think the perfect way to end the podcast is 3 guests that you would invite to a dinner party, past or present, so they can be alive or passed away. Entirely up to you who it is.
Great question. Um, Dwayne Johnson, because I just think he's a charismatic king of
Yeah,
jack of all trades. You know, so much life experience, so much insane stories he'll no doubt have, and a big inspiration in my life in terms of the way he lives his life and stuff.
yeah.
Who would I invite? Robin Williams.
Oh, what a guy!
Robin Williams.
One of my
Robin
favorite,
Williams, not Robbie. I do love a bit of Robbie Williams, don't get me wrong, but Robin Williams, the actor, the comedian,
one of my favorite actors. Him.
literally funniest man ever to live. And I just think, you know, not just on screen but off screen, and I just think he would be an absolute dream to have dinner with. And someone current, Chris Williamson.
Yeah, Chris.
I think he'd bring out the best in those other two, and I think he's got his fair share of decent life experience and stuff as well. I think,
He
and
does.
I really enjoy his content. So, and he's a fairly local lad in terms of, I think he's from the northeast, but
He's from Middlesbrough, yeah, and
he's
worked
very,
in
yeah, but
Newcastle.
aye. So I think, yeah, he would bring out the best in the other two as well.
He's got some fantastic stories. He used to be my boss when I worked in town.
I remember you saying,
He's a very funny character.
aye,
Nah, like them. Chris has always been in mine, to be fair, as well.
aye,
First time I've had Dwayne Johnson and Robin Williams, also they're
aye.
two very good ones. But yeah, mate, that's the end of the podcast. Just before we log off, though, where can people find you? What's your socials? I'll also link them in the description as well.
Yeah, so Joe Rea 64, that is going to change soon to be fair, because I need to ditch that 64. Let's be honest, it's not a very it's not a very I don't know, social media esque username, but yeah, Team JR Fitness is where you'll find us for all fitness content, insane transformations, and yeah, just Joe Rea on YouTube, and it's REA like Rea.
Yeah.
I am actually, yeah. I'm gonna plug. I don't know why this is just coming to my head, but I'm actually related to Chris Rea, the guy who sings "Driving Home for Christmas." And again, who people who knows will absolutely crease at this and will be rolling their eyes right now. God, I can't believe he's plugging this on a podcast. I'm not even plugging it on a podcast, but it's just a little claim to fame that I find hilarious to tell people.
I did not even put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a massive thing to brag about because he's only a one-hit wonder. But he, yeah, I think he literally lives his life off those royalties. But yeah, I am very distantly related to Chris Rea, the singer who sang "Driving Home for Christmas." So that's a lot of people ask me how you pronounce my second name. In England, people will say Ray, but in Italy, it's Rea. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'm glad you said that because I was meant to ask you before we started the podcast and forgot. So I just went with Joe.
Joe.
No, perfect, mate. So for the audience, make sure to drop Joe follow and subscribe to his YouTube. The content is actually very, very good. I enjoy watching the videos as well. And if you don't watch any of them, make sure to definitely watch the house video, because that's one of the best videos I've seen in a long time. So yeah, make sure you follow, and thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel as well.
Thanks very much, Callum. I appreciate it.